Hi and welcome to CBN4's Primetime News. I'm your presenter, Marisa Stedman. Here's a look at the headlines for today. Students of the Goodwill Primary School receive solar lamps from a non-profit organization. The United Workers' Party to host its annual delegates convention at Ground 4. And US President threatens big problems for Iran. Stay tuned for these and other stories when CBN4's Primetime News returns.
If you're HIV positive or have an STI, having unprotected sex with multiple partners puts them in grave danger. You will expose every partner and their present and future partners to HIV or another STI. Use a condom every time you have sex. You can live a productive life even if diagnosed with HIV. Remember, early detection is key to your survival. Be responsible, protect yourself and others. Help stop the spread of HIV and other STIs.
TB estene et bien toussé, moun ki en bonne santé oli ouin ka respire se vermine la. Moun ki pani bon tempérament kon sa ki ni maladie HIV, alcool, café, ti mamay et grand moun bien sensible pour ces maladies ça là. Moun ki ka toussé ni pou prendre précaution le yo en parmi moun en place publique. Couvert bouche ou le ka estene et toussé. Visitez docteur et bien place santé. Fini tout traitement yo ba ou sa joine guérison et puis maladie TB. En responsabilité ou aider du bout simer maladie TB et HIV, protéger corps et les autres.
And welcome back. Earlier today, the Libra-Nissan Foundation, a non-profit organization which partners with schools in developing nations, donated a number of solar lamps to the students of the Goodwill Primary School. The foundation has been doing a lot of work with students across the world, especially in Africa, where they provide eco-technologies designed to support change, growth, and job creation through clean water, solar power, beekeeping, livestock banks, reforestation, food production, and financial planning, all forming part of the foundation's integrated Eco Schools curriculum. Representing the Libra-Nissan Foundation, Ernie Williams told the students of the Goodwill Primary School that the non-profit organization is simply trying to help with the challenges faced with the electricity in a carbon-neutral fashion. Currently, a number of communities and homes across the island are still left without electricity, bearing in mind that the students will soon be setting up for their third term exams, as well as the national assessment exams.
Solar power. I want you to learn about solar power. This is a tiny lamp just for your home so you can study. But the principle can work on the whole island, and it can work in each of your homes. While you have suffered for 6 months without electricity, if we can move forward and have solar panels on houses, then if there is a storm, you can take the panel off so it doesn't blow away, and the next morning put it back on and always have electricity. Okay? It has a solar cell which collects light from the sun and turns it into electricity. There is no pollution whatsoever.
Meantime, Chief Education Officer Chandler Hyacinth believes that the donation will go a long way and thanked Williams for being part of the distribution of the solar lamps to the students.
After Hurricane Maria, they decided to work on a project to provide solar lights for our students in Dominica. We know the challenges we have with electricity in many of our areas. We know that some of you, the students, your homes still do not have electricity. So we are going to assist you today with some solar lights which you can use as you prepare for exams. We know that at Goodwill primary school, we have students who study hard, who work hard, and who aim to excel and do well. And you have teachers who work just as hard to ensure that you do well as well. So as the Ministry of Education presents Mr. Williams to you this morning, we will be distributing the lights. We want to say a special thanks to him from coming all the way from Kenya to be here this morning and to be part of the distribution of lights in Dominica.
Williams visited the southern end of the island on Monday and will visit the east on Wednesday. Chief Librarian Fernando Raymond has announced all public libraries on the island are functional and that library services are continuing. On Monday, the Dominica Library and Information Service received a donation of over 2,000 books from Book Aid International. This was done mainly to support public library services across Dominica with restocking after the passage of the monster Category 5 Hurricane Maria.
So the library services continue as we inform. So Maricot is open at the pharmacy at Wares. The Granby Branch Library is serving from the community center and they're open as well, 9 to 5 all days, Mondays to Friday. The Portsmouth Library, the mobile library is serving on Bay Street at Portsmouth, and the secondary school students are being served through the Portsmouth Secondary School Library. And the Roseau Public Library is now located at the Documentation Center. We are still looking for space within the area of Roseau that can house alternately or temporarily a library for Roseau, but in the meantime we're using the space available to us. The archives, National Archives, is still open and available to users, and the National Documentation Center as well is open and available to users.
And that was Chief Librarian Fernando Raymond. In more news, works are now on the way in the community of Layu for a new emergency resource center. The parliamentary representative for St. Joseph, Honorable Calvo Daru, estimated the project to be completed within a 13-month period. In December 2017, the government of Dominica signed a $2.34 million contract for the construction of the facility through the Caribbean Development Bank. In an interview with CBN4, Daru noted that this will be the first community to receive a model building that will be fully equipped to accommodate 150 persons as well as serve community interests.
I'm happy to report that that project is on stream. The contractor, Royce Construction, they have given me the assurance that before the stipulated 13-month period, that project will be completed. It is a project that is costing to the tune of about $2.3 million. Currently, we have about 12 individuals employed on that project, and also it will contribute significantly towards the Layu community.
Daru believes that the Layu Emergency or Resource Center will significantly change the landscape of the Layu area, considering that at the moment there is no hurricane shelter in the Layu community.
Once completed, it will be to house 150 residents at one particular time. It will be equipped with a standby generator. It will be 2 floors where you have accommodation for dormitories, accommodations for kitchen, for a community style center setting to hold meetings and so forth, and also facilities for the physically challenged. And of course it will be climate resilient, which is the most important thing. This is the first of its kind in Dominica.
The minister assured CBN4 that the government engaged the residents of Layu in dialogue to ensure that their views and inputs were given as part of the project. Daru believes that once Emergency Resource Center is completed, the community of Layu will benefit tremendously. And we'll be back with more news after the break.
There are signs everywhere. Pay attention whether you're male or female. Visit your health center to get screened. It's a preliminary test to determine if you are exposed to the HIV virus, an STI, or tuberculosis. Some people who are HIV positive also have tuberculosis. But there's hope. Tuberculosis can be cured. And yes, you can live a full life with HIV. Talk to your doctor. Be responsible. Help stop the spread of TB, HIV. Encourage everyone to get tested.
L'année signe tout partout. Attention si vous êtes homme et bien femme. Visitez place santé pour examiner corps. Ça c'est un nid pour yo ouais si l'année pièce moun au lion qui ni maladie TB et bien maladie sexuelle. En compagnie moun qui ni maladie HIV pe ni TB aussi. Savent qui l'année guérison pour TB. Ou ça vivre en bonne santé même si ou ni maladie HIV. Parlez by docteur ou. Prends responsabilité ou. Aidez du bout de sime maladie TB et HIV. Ou agir tout le monde pour examiner corps yo.
If you're HIV positive or have an STI, having unprotected sex with multiple partners puts them in grave danger. You will expose every partner and their present and future partners to HIV or another STI. Use a condom every time you have sex. You can live a productive life even if diagnosed with HIV. Remember, early detection is key to your survival. Be responsible, protect yourself and others. Help stop the spread of HIV and other STIs.
Estene et bien toussé, moun qui en bonne santé au liouin qui a respirer ces vermines là. Moun qui pas ni bon tempérament, kon sa ki ni maladie HIV, alcool, café, ti mamay et grand moun, bien sensible pour ces maladies ça là. Moun qui ka toussé ni pour prendre précaution les yo en parmi moun en place publique. Couvert bouche ou le ka estene et toussé. Visitez docteur et bien place santé. Fini tout traitement yo ba ou sa joine guérison et puis maladie TB. En responsabilité ou aider du bout de sime maladie TB et HIV. Protéger corps et les autres.
Welcome back. The United Workers' Party will host its annual delegates convention at the Grand 4 Primary this Sunday from 12:30 p.m. As stated by a news release from the United Workers' Party, at that convention, every executive position within the management structure of the United Workers' Party will be democratically contested. The release also read that all of these positions shall be filled through a nominations process that will usher in a new executive energized to take the party into the next general elections, which will inevitably lead to the United Workers' Party forming the next government in the Commonwealth of Dominica. There are expectations that epic battles to fill these management and leadership positions at that convention will emerge. These include A. Party political leader and the deputy, B. Party president and the deputy, C. General secretary and assistant, D. International secretary, E. Treasurer and assistant. Nominations shall also be entertained to fill the positions of trustees as well as ordinary members of the party executive. And Paul Barron, Communications Officer for the National Youth Council, revealed the council's plan to host its General Assembly on the 28th of April. Barron explained that the purpose of this meeting is to bring together a wide section of the youth across the island to participate in what the Assembly prides itself as a think tank. Barron further stated that the council will deliberate on the activities for the last 2 years as well as usher in a new executive.
And I think that is really what has grasped the Dominican population, youthful and others alike. You recognize that in 2017 we were about to host the assembly, but was affected as a result of Hurricane Maria, and as such we had to commit ourselves to a new date. This is why now we're looking at the 28th of April. We want to take the opportunity to thank everybody who has participated thus far in the process. I'm happy to report that all logistics and preparations are in place towards hosting the General Assembly. The various youth groups have been invited by way of formal invitation. The youth officers played a very critical role in that process, and we want to thank them therefore for their continued service and partnership, whereby they were able to interact with the various youth groups throughout the island.
Meantime, Barron revealed that in 2017, he informed the council and the public of his desire to become the president of the National Youth Council. Barron explains that his ambitions are still the same. Initially, Barron was the only member who bidded for the presidency. However, he noted that Fael Lander has been nominated and has also taken an interest in the role.
We started off originally with 4 or 5 individuals. It has now narrowed down to 2 individuals, that's myself and Mr. Firelander. And although we bring 2 very different views towards the presidency, the intentions really is for the development of Dominicans youth generally. And of course I wish him the very best, but we are looking at this with great optimism, and we welcome the young persons who are going to be participating in this remarkable and amazing opportunity.
Barron admits that in this post-Maria era, there are many issues that confront the youth. He admits that issues such as housing are now at the forefront. And also in the news, in an interview conducted with CBN4, Member of Parliament for the St. Joseph constituency, Kelvin Daru, spoke on the condition of the Lyre Road, where the newly constructed York Valley Bridge is now 95% complete. Daru assured CBN4 that the government is well aware that the Lyre Road is in need of repair, recognizing the importance of such a road as it serves as the access road into a number of farm lots. Daru explained that the government does have plans to rehabilitate some sections of the road.
The section of the road from the Hillsborough Bridge to the York Valley Bridge is also an area that we have contracted a loan from the Caribbean Development Bank to facilitate the construction of that section of the road. Of course, with the damage that was caused by Hurricane Maria, there are some changes that has to be made to the plan, and also we're waiting some advice from the engineers from the Ministry of Public Works as to what would be the best options now for the reconstruction of that road. It's a very important artery for the residents on the west coast who want to go to the interior, and also the farmers of the Lyre Valley area. And we anticipate that once we have finalized the designs for that road, we will see work begin in earnest, because the loan has already been contracted from the Caribbean Development Bank.
Daru went on to say that with further damages incurred by Hurricane Maria, there are some changes that must be made to the plan. He further added that the government is waiting on expert advice from engineers to know their options and how best they can construct the road.
Also, the section now from the York Valley Bridge going back now to the Warner Junction is another important area. We know that we have the abattoir in that area, we have several farmers who own that area, several businesses in that area. So we're looking as well to have some advice from the Ministry of Public Works as to what is the best approach for that road, because for those of you who have traversed that road lately, you will see there are a number of interventions that have to take place on that road. So the cost has to be taken into consideration, as well as getting the proper advice as to what steps we can take to rehabilitate that entire section of that road.
The Member of Parliament for the St. Joseph constituency, Kelvin Daru, believes that with the detailed estimates and proper advice, the government will move forward to have the entire road complete from the Hillsborough Bridge all the way to Port-Casey. And we'll be back with more news after the break.
There are signs everywhere. Pay attention whether you're male or female. Visit your health center to get screened. It's a preliminary test to determine if you are exposed to the HIV virus, an STI, or tuberculosis. Some people who are HIV positive also have tuberculosis. But there's hope. Tuberculosis can be cured. And yes, you can live a full life with HIV. Talk to your doctor. Be responsible. Help stop the spread of TB, HIV. Encourage everyone to get tested.
Welcome back. In more news, the UK Foreign and Commonwealth Office announced last week its decision to establish a mission in Antigua and Barbuda, a decade after closing its last mission in 2008, a decision that has been welcomed by Prime Minister Gaston Brown. The mission is expected to open in Antigua and Barbuda in January 2019. On receiving the news, Brown, who was in London last week, where he led a delegation to the Commonwealth heads of government meeting, said, "This mission signals Britain's intention to be a truly global Britain and the importance Britain places on the Caribbean." Also reacting to the news was the Foreign Minister, E.P. Chet Green, who likewise welcomed the decision by the UK government to open a High Commission in Antigua and Barbuda at this critical point in time in global relations. The United Kingdom is one of Antigua and Barbuda's largest trading partners and one of the most important source markets for tourism. The two countries have enjoyed a long, rich history, and the UK is considered a key ally and friend of the country. And in other news, the United Nations called Tuesday on Nicaragua to investigate a crackdown on protests that have left at least 27 dead, saying that a number of the killings may have been unlawful. Pension reform sparked nearly a week of deadly unrest, underscoring public resentment of 72-year-old leftist President Daniel Ortega and his wife Rosario Murillo, his vice president. The UN said at least 25 people, including a police officer, had been killed in the unrest as of Sunday. But the Nicaraguan Center for Human Rights has given a death toll of 26 since last Wednesday, when the pension reforms were unveiled, including a Nicaraguan journalist shot in the head while covering the chaos in a city on the country's Caribbean coast. Murillo added another death to the count on Monday, saying a police officer succumbed to fatal injuries sustained in Sunday's protest. And U.S. President Donald Trump has warned Iran of big problems if it resumes the nuclear program it agreed to curb in a 2015 international accord. Speaking at the White House with French President Emmanuel Macron, Trump called the Iran deal insane. Macron, who is lobbying Trump to preserve the deal, said it was possible to forge a new Iran accord. The U.S. president has been threatening to reject an extension of the Obama-era nuclear pact by a 12th May deadline. Germany's Chancellor Angela Merkel is due to visit the U.S. Capitol on Friday to make a last-minute bid to dissuade Trump from potentially torpedoing the Iran agreement. And this has been the presentation of CBN4's Primetime News. Again, I am Marissa Stedman, bidding you farewell.